Hello, boys and girls. So today we are going to, if you check out your announcement for the day in Canvas, we are going to be talking about key people and events of the Civil Rights Movement. So in your announcement, you will see that we are going to be on Unit 14, Lesson 4. And if you will navigate over to slide 9 of your digital notebook, we will get started. So there are two key people and that we need to know specific things about, and one of them, or both of them, you actually have heard of before and have probably learned a lot about. But there will be a few things, especially about Martin Luther King Jr., that you need to know that you probably haven't heard of before. So what we're going to focus on today is learning some key events and some key ways that the Civil Rights Movement and the leaders encouraged people to use nonviolent, passive ways to resist the violence, to fight for equality and gain equal rights. So on this slide, you see down the left that pretty much for every single one of these items, there is at least one clip for you to watch and listen to. So for Dr. King, we have that he was a civil rights leader and a Baptist minister. He led nonviolent demonstrations against injustices in the segregated South. That was his focus. The key word that's probably new to you is passive resistance and fighting violence through nonviolent ways. So he was concerned about racism, poverty, and violence, and he believed in passive resistance, which is fighting violence through nonviolent ways. He gave his famous I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C., where they marched and gathered in protest at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial there in 1963. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts in 1964. Rosa Parks was a seamstress and very talented at sewing, and that was her job. And she was very tired that day that she was getting on that Montgomery County, Alabama bus transportation to take her home. And she had sat down, and she does refuse to give up her seat to a white man to move to the back of the bus as required by law in Montgomery, Alabama at that time, and she was arrested in 1955. Her actions inspired the Montgomery bus boycott, which led to the integration of buses in Montgomery, Alabama. Freedom rides were where people would purposefully mix black and white people on a bus, like a Greyhound bus, and they would ride across the South on interstate highways, and that helped to lead to segregation in interstate transportation. You know that marches were important in protest, and those led to desegregated public facilities. An example that I've already mentioned is the March on Washington, where 200,000 people demonstrated that day, and King gave his speech. We have sit-ins where people would sit at lunch counters, the famous Greensboro, North Carolina sit-ins where college students would sit down at counters, and of course they're sitting at all white counters, and they're being refused service, and they stay there until they are given service. And if they don't get service that day, they come back the next day and they do it again, and that takes business away. Boycotts are the refusal to participate in something until a change is made. And of course, we know that King gave a speech and gave many speeches. So
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr.